right, welcome back to Top 5 Vinyl. Today I'm here with Vinyl Chand. How you doing, Chand?
We're good. How are you? Again, you're coming in clutch by saying it properly.
Thank you.
Again, just
Thank you.
phonics.
No problem. And before we get started, I just want to say make sure everybody subscribes, likes the video, all that cool YouTube stuff. If you want to interview, you can send me an email at top5vinyl@gmail.com. So, Chand, let me ask you, growing up, was there a record player in your house?
Yes, there was. But my parents growing up, they were very adapting to like the times at that time. So when I was a baby, the CD thing was still kicking in. So they were kind of into it at that time, but they still had like the classic tower
Hmm.
of like all of the different systems and everything and the albums on the ground. And I would always see them enjoying the albums and like looking at it and like reminiscing about it. So
Hmm.
there's always some sort of music in the house, whether it was on the turntable or it was just playing around. So I
Okay.
always had a turntable growing up, I feel like.
And who was the bigger vinyl listener in your house, your mom or your dad?
I feel like it would be my dad because when he saw me starting getting into vinyl more, he was more so commenting on it and he's like, "Oh, I remember grabbing like this Bob Marley record back in Fiji or like
Hmm.
I would grab this back in Australia." And it's like, okay, like I can tell that he was the one that was more into it back then.
Gotcha. That's
There's
cool.
actually a photo of him in the 70s actually with like his little John Travolta hair and he's wearing like his little 70s shirt and he's standing next to a stereo and I'm like, my dad was the shit back then.
Right. That was cool back then.
Right?
That's funny. Okay. So let me ask you, do you remember the first vinyl that you ever bought?
Yes, I do. I actually bought five that day. It was the
Hmm.
first one is Nozomatic. I have
Okay.
to say that one first because that record is absolutely amazing. Um, I got Brownstone, Past the Love in a Single, Kelly Price, Mirror Mirror, and I think that was it. Oh, and then Mariah Carey's Joy to the World. Like it's a rare dance single that I saw, and it was like a red vinyl, and I was like, oh, I have to have that as like my first record, you know?
Okay. So that was a
Yeah.
five purchases in one day. Has that been your most purchases in one day?
No, I can go and do a haul if I need to. I can drop $200 if I need.
Okay. And what's like the method of getting it back home? You like just lugging it on in the car? Like how you okay.
Oh, I'm the transit dude. I will lug like 5 bags of records just
Mm,
on the train. And I've done that so many times. So
okay. Okay.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool. And if you had to guess, I don't know, how many vinyl records do you think that you have in your collection?
Probably 3,000.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Actually, no, probably two. I've lost count.
Mm,
That's the
okay.
problem.
Do you have any doubles or they're all just one each?
I actually do have a few doubles, and it's funny because the doubles that I have is either things that are passed down or just stuff that I've found randomly for free, and I'm just like, if I don't take it, no one else is gonna appreciate it.
Okay. Okay, that
Right?
makes sense. And
Yeah.
passed down typically from family, friends. How does that happen?
So first it was my brother-in-law's family that passed me all of their albums, and it was a lot of 45s, a lot of 12 inches, and then my dad had some as well. And then my mom had a really small 45 collection as well that she donated as well.
Mm,
And then, yeah, everything in my collection is actually built from my siblings, like bits and pieces of it. So,
gotcha. Okay.
yeah,
That's cool. All right.
yeah.
Well, this is top five vinyl, and I want you to show me the fifth album that you have there with you.
Oh, the fifth one. Okay. I
Let's take
guess
a look
I'm
at your number five.
I guess I'm gonna go with this one here. It's a brand new one actually. Bone Thugs and Harmony, The
Wow.
Armor.
Okay.
Uh, this album I picked in particular, A, just because it's Bone Thugs and Harmony. You can never go wrong with them, honestly. And I think this was the first album that got me consciously into music.
Mm.
My siblings at the time, they were teens. Now they're like in their 40s now. So when this came out, they were in their teens. Tupac was everywhere, Diddy was everywhere. The whole bad boy thing was popping off. So every single time I would be walking around in my house or just running around in my little diapers, I would always be hearing Thug Love from this album.
Mm.
And according to my siblings, that was like my favorite song when I was a baby, and I would just start popping out to it. So I'm like, okay. And it's
Mm.
funny because every time I hear that song, it's always from I have four siblings, so each one of my siblings will always play it somehow.
Hmm.
So it's like the one family thing that's shared, and the fact that it's just been timeless for so long. It's one of my favorites, honestly.
And if I remember, I think that was a double CD. Is that a double vinyl also?
Yes, and this is actually an original 97
Oh
issue.
wow.
This isn't even a reissue, so I'm
Wow.
actually excited for this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice. I remember when
yeah,
that album came out. Good stuff right there. Okay.
yeah. I think this is probably one of their best in my opinion.
I'd agree.
Yeah,
hmm hmm
yeah. This
All
one.
right, cool. So that's your number five. Let's go ahead and take a look at your number four.
My number four. Oh, okay. Number four is Regina Belle, Baby
Mm,
Come to Me.
okay.
Very classic, obviously, if you're into R&B.
hmm
There is a reason why I picked this record. I used to work at a record store before,
Oh wow. Okay.
and we would be doing consignment. So a lot of people would sell their collections, and we would go through them and we would price them out. And usually, because we worked there, we would get dibs on whatever would come first,
hmm
and always make deals with people. So there was one lady that came in, God bless this woman. She looked exactly like Donna Summer.
Hmm.
She had the hair, she had the face, the makeup. She even had the dress on. She looked like she came from the Once Upon a Time album cover, and I was like enamored with her.
Mm,
And she came in with this full Creative Records, and this was in there. And let me tell you what else is in there. She had Cool in the Gang. She had Earth, Wind, and Fire. She had Stevie Wonder. She had Al Green. And I'm like, obviously I'm drooling because I'm from Canada, and obviously whenever someone gives me a record to sell, it's either Barbra Streisand, Supertramp,
mm,
Average White Band, or the Christian Gospel Pentecostal Choir of Edmonton. You know what I mean? Like it's always something different.
hmm
Just to see this, I was like, okay, this is something that I really need to have.
mm,
And we've actually established a relationship. So she always came and always gave me 45s. She actually introduced me to like Billy Preston's music. She gave me a lot of Earth, Wind, and Fire. She's actually done a lot of influence for me. So I this record reminds me of her actually.
That's awesome. Now,
Yeah.
is there a year in the back of this album? What year did this thing come out? Does it say?
1989 actually.
Okay. Okay.
And it's actually a promo copy. I actually just noticed it yesterday
Mm,
when I was grabbing it.
mm,
So
hmm
yeah, I just thought it was cool and it just has a huge memory attached to it. So
Yep.
yeah,
Nice. Okay, cool. So that's your
yeah.
number four. Let's go ahead and take a look at your number three.
Oh, number three. Okay. So I don't know if it's a rule or not, but I picked a single
Yep.
just because I've just loved the song Billy Lawrence, Happiness.
Mm,
Um, Billy Lawrence, for not many people who do not know, she is a singer-songwriter. She did a couple of songs in the 90s. She did Come On featuring MC Light, which was on the Set It Off soundtrack. And she did another song called Happiness. And she's actually written for a bunch of other artists as well.
mm,
Did the song called Happiness, and it's one of the best songs I've ever heard, honestly. It's 90s R&B mixed with that nice fellow, like little bit of mellow pop vibe to it.
hmm
And I never heard the song growing up. I discovered the song, I think 2010.
mm,
I listened to the song the first time and it just reminded me of me and my grandmother.
mm.
For a lot of people that don't know, my grandma's like my everything. Like I'm a huge grandma's boy. So I have a lot of memories with her. And every time I hear this song, I always think of like the good times that I have with her.
Mm,
And she's still alive, but it's like you get to have a little nostalgic moment with it.
mm,
So
mm.
every time I hear the song, it always just brings me back to being a little bit of a child.
Well, I'll just say this, I can fully relate because people who know me, I'm a huge Transformers fan.
Yeah.
I'm Transformed out. And the reason being is because my grandmother
Yeah.
bought me my first or bought me Soundwave as a gift. And it was just like the best day ever.
Yeah.
I'm a little kid walking over with grandma at the mall. Got my toy. I'm just like in bliss. And Transformers always just reminds me of my grandma. So I can appreciate your story with that.
Exactly. And like even just with the music that I've grown up listening to, like my whole family loves Western music. Like my grandma loves Michael Jackson and she actually loves Usher.
Mm,
Believe it or not.
mm.
Like you see my grandma, 86 years old, getting down to Usher. Just it's just the fun times, honestly. But this song always just reminds me of her and it always puts a smile on my face, I would say.
Nice. Okay, cool. All right, so that's your number three. Let's go ahead and take a look at your number two.
Okay. My number two. is Janet's The
Mm,
Velvet Rope.
hmm
Very huge classic record. I picked this because I would say this is the second longest running album in my life, I would say, that I've played. Because usually, there's some albums that you only play for a moment and it kind of stays in the moment.
hmm
I feel like this one I've had to play so many times just to get myself in check.
mm,
It's a huge reflective album that whenever you're going through something, you can just play it through and it always allows you to kind of feel good about yourself and kind of allows you to gain insight on the world that's happening around you as well.
hmm
Um, I think of this more as like a reflective piece because it always, every single time in my life, everything that's happened, I've always turned to this album especially.
hmm
And especially with like the last song, special, like I have the need to feel special. Her telling us that, and then at the end of the song where she says work in progress, it's like there's so many different parts of this album that it you would have to do a podcast on it. There's so much different elements on it that just make this album so incredible. You have Q-Tip, you have Joni Mitchell,
hmm
Vanessa Mae, you have like it's just too ill. It's just
hmm
too ill.
Yeah, and side note, if I'm remembering correctly, I don't think that Q-Tip Joni Mitchell's song is streaming. I think that Joni Mitchell possibly doesn't have it out there. I don't know. I don't think you can find that song on Spotify or Google Play. I think you have to maybe like on YouTube, but I don't think you can find it like on streaming. And I
That is
think that song is just beautiful. I love everything about that song.
it's you know what? If anybody's a Jay Dilla fan, and I'm pretty sure you are too, you've heard the Jay Dilla remixes of Got Till It's Gone as well. So
Hmm
those
hmm
remixes stop on there as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, Got Till It's Gone is like the proper vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And for the grand finale, let's take a look at your number one. I see smiles. What you got over there?
I'm already nervous about this one. I don't want to ruin it. It is Michael Jackson's
Mm,
History, Past, Present, and Future, Book One.
mm,
This is an original 1995
mm,
pressing, three box LP, big book, everything.
mm. Oh, it opens up.
Yeah, it opens up,
Okay.
everything's in there. I got this album on vinyl because this is the first album that got me into music, period.
Mm,
This was the album that made me explore the world of music that I've gone into today.
mm,
It allowed me to open myself up as a person, as a creative person as well.
mm,
And just, it's such a classic album. I feel like a lot of people don't talk about history. I feel like people dismiss it as a compilation when in reality I would say it's probably one of the best MJ albums out there. I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate on that, but I think it's one of the best. It has Michael when you need him to be at that point. And I
mm,
think it's just the most autobiographical thing ever. And I think being a kid and listening to like this type of stuff when you're going through so much bullying and isolation, especially with like the Velvet Rope too. That's why I picked that one as well. This record and that record I related to a lot. And those were the reasons why I had to pick those ones, especially for Michael Jackson, because Michael was the first one to actually put it through for me.
mm,
And just to show that my family actually was a part of it, I have my dad's
mm,
CD copy of it,
mm.
and I have my brother's CD
Huh,
music.
nice.
So this album means that much to me that I have it everywhere. And I have it on cassette too, but that's gonna be way too great.
All right, so a couple of things. I love the shirt.
Thank you, thank you.
Love the shirt. As far as that Michael Jackson album, do you remember where you bought the vinyl from?
Discogs. And I
Okay.
actually bought it for less than $200.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
And final question, favorite song on the album? I know it's a hard thing to come up with.
Oh, see, I would say Smile because my grandma loves that song on that album.
Mm,
But I would say right now it has to be Stranger in Moscow.
mm, okay.
That's another great song that a lot of people don't talk about either.
Mm,
Yeah, so
cool.
I would say it's those two
Okay.
for now. For now.
For now.
Man, listen, why you gotta make me change my
Hey,
mind?
just asking a question. Just asking a question. Well, Chan, I really want to appreciate you for your time. Thank you so much on being a part of this journey.
Thank
And
you for having me.
I will see you on Instagram.
Yes, for sure. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
man. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.